hell is empty, and all the devils are here.
Good day, beautiful blooming flowers of sin. Welcome to our new episode. You will understand why I'm greeting you in this beautiful, floweresque, botanical way. Don't worry, I'm not alone here. You don't have to listen to me. You can stay here and listen to actually proper clever people. I have Pike with me.
Hail, Satan!
See what I'm dealing with? Welcome, Leraje.
Fuck snail tapenade.
Don't fuck snails, by the way. And welcome, Lithos.
Hail, Satan.
Oh god, okay. There we go. And my name is Ligeia. What are we doing today? This is You Will Suffer With Us, because I chose this book. So I am scared after my decision to go through John Ward, so I am scared what's going to happen today. I, again, chose a book before I read it. My thinking process was I want to bring something that is more like springtime or the season, which didn't work well because it's far from spring. It's fucking hot. Everything is dead and dry. But yeah, that was my process of thinking. So we are going to talk about a short book. I think it's a novella. It's not a novel. It's by Delilah S Dawson, and it's called Bloom. It has a beautiful cover, I think. It's a beautiful picture. That was another
Nice cover.
reason why I chose it, because I like to look at it. I would say at the first glance, which you confirmed when we had a little chat here and there, at the first glance, this reads like a romance, a love story. It's a sapphic story, so we have two girls that fall in love, and the first half, or maybe more than a half of the book, is focused on their relationship. We have two main characters. The first one is Rosemary Rowe. She's a literature professor, and she's like trying to heal after a breakup with her boyfriend. So she moves away. She's starting a new life in this little town. And this is exactly like creating that slow, peaceful little town atmosphere that makes this book kind of even more romantic and, like very cottagecore situation. Everything is beautiful. It's, colors. We have a lot of descriptions of what we can see and smell and touch, and so that's beautiful. Then we have the other character, which we as the Rowe girl. She meets her at the farmer's market, and this other girl, her name is Ash. She is selling her products, which we can talk about later. Everything is homemade. Again, she is absolutely beautiful. It's we will talk about what makes sense, what doesn't make sense, but yeah. So they fall in sort of love. One falls in love a little bit more deeper than the other one, but they are together. They start meeting up at this beautiful cottage of Ash, and then like the final part of the book, we start to see the psychological and body horror. I don't want to spoil it yet. I know this is kind of like the plot situation.
You want us to help you spoil it?
Well, whatever you choose. Now it's in your hands. I don't know. Are we spoiling the ending?
We always do. We always spoil the books.
Yeah.
We might as well.
Okay.
I feel like the listener would be disappointed if we didn't.
Yeah.
Right.
We have to ruin the reading experience completely.
Yes. Please. Okay, then. So, what did you guys think?
I thought this was a novella that would have been better as a novel. It felt a bit cramped in places, and I think it would have been better. And I didn't hate it at all, but I think it would have been better if there'd been more time given to before the events in the novella started, and more time taken, especially at the end.
Oh, I don't know about that. Think about it. So this book was 90% them eating nice organic food and, enjoying a nice middle-class lifestyle. And then it was 10% there when things actually start kicking off. If this was a novel, that would be a lot of cupcake eating.
That's what I mean, though. There should have been more story. It felt to me like there were whole bits of the story that were kind of like dangled in front of us and then just never mentioned again. Things like the missing girls subplot. What the fuck happened there?
Oh, yeah.
The Jessie character. She was there and then she wasn't there, and it was like her relationship with her mum wasn't really explained. Her relationship with her ex, what was his name, Eric. All right, it didn't end well, obviously, but I just felt there was much more to say about all these things, and that would have helped with the other main issue I had with this, which was Roe's character, the character of Roe, which felt quite underdeveloped and not very realistic.
Okay, so I think the summary was done. I can go.
There was definitely an abundance of cupcake and prosciutto and whatever else eating, and description of candles. And at one point, I actually wondered, has the author ever been to one of these farmers markets? Because they're not as romantic as that. It's overpriced jams, and there was definitely too much of that and not enough characterization, really. I mean, I would say that Roe definitely felt one-dimensional and sort of like rather sort of teen fiction-ish at times, almost like fanfic. Like,
agree.
Oh, yes, Ash is so lovely, she's so beautiful, and the butterflies are billowing around and all this, and it's like, oh, for God's sake, is this Twilight? I mean, it had potential to be really good, but even the bits that kind of led up to the horror, I felt were quite heavily signposted. Like, I thought, oh, right, okay, there's going to be a torture room in the cellar,
Right.
That was, so
And it didn't disappoint you.
It's not a particularly original sort of idea, and the way you make it really good and original is you flesh out the characters, which is the one thing that was missing for me. It was like, my God, Roe, you really do not strike me as sort of a learned academic, and your poetry really fucking sucks.
Really fucking sucks. Jesus.
That was bad.
I know what you mean about the kind of like teen fiction character. It felt like she was a character written for an Instagram audience. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. It just felt very superficial.
Now, this feels a little unfair. She wrote that poem to hide her SOS message. She didn't write it to...
Oh, I meant the first one.
That wasn't
the
the
first
only
one
poem
that
she
she
wrote.
posted,
Yeah.
and which I can't remember. It's not very memorable, but it's like 4 or 5 lines, and it's teenage tribe.
Right.
Yeah. So we agree that there could be much more work done around the character.
That's why I think it would have been better as a novel if she'd taken the time to sort of like really develop Roe in particular as a character before the events of the novella started. I would have cared a lot more about Roe, but everything she did was a cliche. I mean, the whole thing about she's a literature professor and her two the only real literature character writers that she mentions are Shakespeare and fucking Bronte, was it?
Yes.
And it's like, Christ almighty, I mean, give us some depth. Don't just whack the first 2 biggest names of English literature that you can think of on the page. Give her a little bit of interest. Make it, make her interested in Herman Melville, for example, or, someone a little bit off the sort of like cliche path of Shakespeare and Bronte. She just didn't feel very well put together at all.
I thought her most believable side was her post-breakup side. Where she says that at least going to the market felt like getting out into the world. The bit where she's just coming out of this relationship that went bad. I thought, okay, that someone has experienced it before writing it. That was my, well, I thought Rose's best bit.
I didn't necessarily have a problem with the kind of like romance side of it at all. I thought some parts of that were really very well written. She reels, Dawson reels off this cracking line, which I'm trying to find.
It's the first line of her poem.
No, it's not. She is obsessed, she is compelled, she is called, she is a selkie, and Ash has her skin. I fucking love that line. That is just a brilliant line. And it really sort of like encapsulates to me this kind of, I mean, you said that it was love, Ligeia. I don't know if it was. I think it was just pure infatuation, at least at the start. Yeah. And that line just sort of like encapsulates that. It was kind of like, it was like she was addicted to Ash.
The word is limerence, I think, for this. Like, you are absolutely... Yeah, because they didn't have time to establish any real deep feelings that I would call love. But it's still read as a love story. I don't know what else to call it. Romance, yeah. You know what I mean by love story. This is a question. Like, where is the edge between being just in love physically or like, you know, attracted to somebody so much that you actually really feel the obsession or whatever that is. And then where does it change to love and something that is much more beautiful and complex, you know, in books. You know, sometimes it wasn't in this book. It was a short story that was not enough time to establish any sort of love. I agree with that. I didn't mind that. For me, that was like, okay, I'm gonna read a sapphic,
Tale of Passion,
which was not there, by the way, for me.
Yeah, that got cut out.
There was I've got a quote here, which is when they actually get down to the sapphic bit and they kiss, and then Ash kneels before her and ... Yes, it's quite a night. Once they're done eating, dear God, yes. And that's it.
Yeah,
that is, so it's like,
they
it's
were
not
done
even...
eating. Right, okay.
It's such a fucking Puritan way of kind of describing it. But the author, I think, has got chops. She can write some really good stuff. Yeah. There's some really well-written stuff. The bit at the end as well with the horror, it's kind of like really drew me in. You know, it's kind of like the excitement of like, please don't let me get found in the cellar. And it was so uneven for me because I thought there's some really well-written bits, and then there's loads of sort of, all I can call it is sentimental tripe, really.
That's good.
You know,
fair.
For want of a better word. And yeah, if she'd spent time focusing on the good bits of her writing, and then going into some depth about the characters, it would be so much of a better novel because, like I said, it's not a fucking original story. It's been done before. So you've got to put another spin on it to make it special.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just me. I'm so happy because I think a lot could have been done, as you said, like maybe some sort of a history of the characters and what they have been through. But also going deeper in the actual erotic side, like really, please describe what's happening and how they feel. Why are we going that way and then we are too shy to say anything? Why choosing this topic then? You know what I mean?
Because the real passion was for the, human fat cupcakes.
I couldn't help thinking back to sort of in comparison to Heather Parry. And again, her story was not necessarily an original one because, someone being locked in the attic, it's been done before. But what she did was she went into massive depth. She wrote beautifully. She developed the characters, and the lesbian romance that was in there was quite beautifully described as well. The whole thing, what turned what was actually an idea that's been done before several times into something really astonishing, special and beautiful. And that was the talent of it. And I feel like this was a massive miss. You could have done something with this, but it's just like, it's something to read on the beach.
Yes, it
It's
was
fluff.
so rushed. So rushed.
again, I know I've said it 2 or 3 times, but this is why I think it would have been better if she'd fleshed it out into a full 500, 600 page novel. Going back to
with fewer
the
cupcakes.
Well, I didn't mind that too much. I mean, I think she was trying to say something with that. I think she was trying to say something about sensuality and sort of.
I don't think cupcakes are sensual. It might just be me. I really,
They can be.
Yeah.
I mean,
French
sort of-
pastry.
Yeah.
This is where I'm
but that's a
going
matter
with
of
my
preference.
analysis. Yeah.
I'd say they were sensual maybe to start with, but after Ro has kept them in her fridge for a week,
Yeah.
when she's eating it, how long do you think it's okay to keep a cupcake for? Because I would say 2 days max. Second day, it's already getting a little,
Dry, yeah.
But Pike, hold on. When I imagine myself when I am in love or infatuated by somebody, I would keep them for like a year and just sniff them.
Would you eat them though?
I would eat them.
After a year?
I would not even be sick. Because that would be like, this is my connection with this person. I think that was what she was trying to say with that. Like she stopped thinking in a rational way, if she ever did in this book. I mean, Rosemary. She was not the most rational person on earth. Maybe I am thinking too much about what the author was trying to say. Maybe she would be surprised that, oh, that was a mistake that I did that, like that's a stupid thing to do. But my mind is like, yeah, this is the real passion. I would actually do that. And she would be like, cool. Yeah, I don't know.
I thought she was just bad with food, and that's why she didn't question it when her
she was.
tapenade was in cubes. That's not what a tapenade is.
Yeah, that really had me puzzled. I thought, what a lumpy tapenade, which is chewy. What kind of olives are in there? And of course, makes sense later on. But why would you put snails in a tapenade? Why not bake them into one of your cupcakes or something?
What?
I got a theory about that. But I just want to, going back to the kind of like erotic or non-eroticness of this. Did anyone else get the impression that maybe Ash was asexual?
I did not think about her.
No.
But, okay, continue.
Because she kind of like, there's this thing with the Jessie character. She sort of like expresses disapproval of Jessie's kind of like overt sexuality on her own Instagram page. So that was the first thing. When they actually fucking finally get down and start bumping uglies, she is always the sorry. She's always the giver. She never receives anything from Ro.
That just like,
Always.
yes. That was
Yeah.
weird. Yeah.
She doesn't seem to want or need much attention sexually. And I think, going back to what I said a minute ago about having a theory about the whole tapenade thing, I think she poisoned Ro on purpose to avoid having a sexual encounter with her that first night.
Oh, you think that was the reason? I couldn't find why. Oh.
So yeah, I think there's an argument to be
possibly.
made that Ash is asexual, which I thought was quite an interesting way to take it.
Also, she's a psychopath. So
Yeah,
whether whether
That too.
psychopaths are on the whole asexual in the traditional sense, that's not how they get their thrills, is it? But I think, it's not a love story so much as you mentioned, Leraje, a kind of infatuation and bordering on obsession that Ro has developed for this girl in the sense that she actually puts up with a load of bullshit she wouldn't put up with from men. It's not a love story if one of them says from the word go, these are my boundaries, do not enter this room ever, and then blanks them at the marker, and that's not a love story.
No, that's Bluebeard.
That is Bluebeard, yeah.
Maybe this is exactly why, as I said, I had no idea what I'm gonna be reading, and I thought it's gonna be just like a story. But the story was not it was not feeding me in any way. So I decided to look into this in my strange way of, I don't know if the author was thinking about any of what I saw, but I started to think maybe this is more of like a poem situation, which we know she was not good at. Bear with me, bear with me. Of course, there is a lot of description of food and handmade, homemade products and comfort foods and beautiful pastel colors and scents. And again, maybe this is just my mind, but I saw so much mythology, like honey and what it represents and how it's always sexualized because it's sweet, it brings pleasure, it is healing, it preserves, and it has been with the human, all kind of religion, whatever. Honey is always present when we want to talk about like sensual traction, whatever that is.
Yeah, honey trap.
Yes, and like, carnivorous plants, the femme fatale, which I think, again, I saw in Ash, sort of like she is in botany. So I saw the pollination and the exchange that happens in nature. And I saw these two girls and I was thinking, Ash is representing this force in nature that works in plants, in flowers. She is attracting, she is inviting, she is seducing the insect, whatever, which is Roe. And she, Roe is only seeing that beautiful flowering phase of the plant when it's the most beautiful. It's the scent is absolutely gorgeous, and she is stupidly thinking this is the whole Ash. This is what I'm getting. And it was only that little face she was portraying. Okay, come here. I'm gonna only eat you. So, and she did. And this is happening in nature. And I thought this is such a beautiful metaphor. If it is, if it's not, well, I'm still seeing it. So it was beautiful. It was becoming beautiful for me when I started reading it in this way. And also how she took that approach of bringing the queerness into this, because usually the botanical, the flowers, the plants, and how they reproduce in Western art, it's usually representing like the stereotypical heterosexuality. Like we have two parts and one is that, which is not true. It doesn't have to be. There is so much chaos, and something that is so beautiful in nature is that it can't just be that, but it represents in art. And I loved that she brought this queerness into that, because the horror of the story didn't come from them being gay. That didn't necessarily need to be. It could have been a boy and a girl. It could have been whatever. I don't think that was the horror based on that, but she brought it there, and I loved that little detail that, okay, we can still be looking at this sexuality in the ecosystem she created. Like the garden was actually the unconsciousness. Am I making any sense anymore?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. This is what I thought is happening. And it was like, I found so many new layers when I started looking into this. I got actually completely lost, because this is one of the topics I am obsessed. I have been for 6 years, like the botany and the sexual aspects of how we see the parts of plants and how they behave and how they can work. We use them for the eroticism, for the sexual thing, in a way that we can be a little bit more brave when we use them instead of talking about people. It still brings the innocence, it's not us. It is in the nature. It is beautiful. Somehow it's in people, like we think when we talk about sexuality in people, it became dirty. It's always dirty.
Right. So you think the kind of like the more kind of, for want of a better word, the botanistic aspects of Ash
Yes.
was a way of illustrating that.
Yes, how that works in nature, how it lies. Like I really like the aspect of the pollination and the like she was a predator and she was selling this one state. That was beautiful. And how Ro didn't read the room, and she actually did not fall. She did not fall. Am I right? What am I missing? What am I saying wrong?
4.
Yes, four. For like a whole person. Ash was not a whole person for her. She only saw a little beautiful arrangement that she created. It was an architecture of a person she wanted to see in front of herself. She was absolutely ignoring all the red flags, weird stuff, rules. Come on, who would be with the person who is like, the first thing you say is, oh, by the way, bitch, you are not going there. I'm like, that's the first thing I'm doing, bitch. Whoa.
That's the last thing you're doing then as well.
Well, that would be also the last thing, of course. And that would be the end of the book. But you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like a normal adult person who has been in a relationship would not deal with that. They would be like, okay, that's the last thing I'm doing with you. Bye.
I think when I say she now, I mean Delilah Dawson, the author. I think she tried to explain that, not really that well, but I think she tried to by saying that Ro was so confused by the fact that she found herself having the hots for a girl, when in the past all she'd done was like falling for men, that she didn't know how to behave and she didn't know what to do, and she was so unsure of what the right thing to do was when you have a relationship with someone of the same gender as you. But I don't think that was enough of a reason for her to sort of like carry on acquiescing to these increasingly bizarre red flags that Ash was putting up.
Well, there was very little mention of Ash's personality in this.
There was nothing.
There's Ro goes, oh, you're beautiful, you're so beautiful, your hair's beautiful, your dresses are beautiful, you smell beautiful, your cupcakes are wonderful, your charcuterie is fantastic, and that seems to be it. And I was thinking, my God, you must be fucking easy to please if that's all it takes.
Yeah.
Do you even like this woman?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was like there's hardly any conversation, and the little bits of conversation there are is like Ash going, these are my limits, don't cross them. And I'm like, it's that, no, that's not love. And that really, is fucking, if that's all it is, you just want someone beautiful that makes nice cakes. I'm sure there's plenty of people like that in the world. I found it weird that there was no mention of her being attracted to her personality in any way, shape, or form.
This is why I started to think it's a different story than that.
I thought that quite early on. I thought, but I just took it for a romance cliche. I thought, wouldn't it be nice to have a romance story for once where the character is not entrapped by this dazzling beauty that just knocks him out of their feet. That was very fan fiction-y. But maybe is even put off by the person's appearance and then, gets drawn in by the power of their personality or something. It would make for a much more interesting, and then you can bring in the appearance as
Jane
well.
Eyre.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't compare these two.
But I thought the story was an allegory, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I thought what it was really about. And that really cracked me up when I thought that when I finished reading it. I thought it's about middle class problems. Jobs in academia are problematic, long boring office hours, no difficult career progression. All you have to look forward to in life is your farmer's market on the weekend. You have to make your own toiletries because commercial products are full of chemicals and all that and so on and so forth. And then the solution is quite literal in this story. Eat shit and die.
Yeah.
That's very good.
Oh, fantastic. That is good.
Probably not intended that way, though.
I think I put in the group that it was during the last heat wave that we had, and so not this current one, the one before. I was up all night and I went through it listing all the literature and poetry references that I could find.
Oh, yeah.
Did anybody else do that?
I have some.
Fuck no.
I only have a few because I knew you would do this. Oh, yeah, I have 4.
Go on, let's hear him. I want to see if we're doing the same.
Okay, I found the poem by Christina Rossetti, Goblin Market.
Yeah.
You did too?
The Goblin Market, yeah. That was
Yeah?
the biggest one. Yeah, well,
I
no, the
thought
second biggest
so.
one.
Okay, I have it
Yeah.
as a biggest. Then Rebecca, sort of.
Oh, yeah.
Where?
I don't know how to.
I would think the sort of like being a new place being a new person in a new place and sort of.
It's like the. I will have to think what I meant by it because I can't really.
Okay.
Anyway, that's a challenge. Then I have Carmilla.
Missed that one.
But it's not really that prominent. It's sapphic. It's a little bit of the seductive female, the attraction between them, which obviously Carmilla is a vampire risk. It's the love and danger, and it's like it can't end well. Like you have that tension there. And of course, she mentions Hannibal, so that's not a
No, that was the
revelation.
biggest one for me.
Yeah. She mentions it. So yeah, tell us yours.
Well, you mentioned the Goblin Market.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the second biggest one. The biggest one was for me was the Hannibal Lecter. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was two bits for the Hannibal. The first one is obviously Hannibal the Cannibal. Ash is also a cannibal. And the second bit, in the second Hannibal Lecter novel, The Silence of the Lambs novel, the secondary serial killer's, the Buffalo Bill character, his real name is James Gumb, Gumb. Ash's second name is Gund, Gund. And I thought that was far too close to be a coincidence.
That's a hidden gem.
I think so. A little Easter egg. So yeah, the Goblin Market as well. If you've not read the Goblin Market, it's a story of two women who go to this goblin market and they're tempted by all these delicious looking foods and stuff like that. And there's fairly overt sapphic themes throughout the poem, even though a bit worryingly the two female characters are described as sisters. There's also these
enticingly.
Yeah. When Ro first encounters Ash, it's at a farmer's market, which she describes as having a certain sorcery and which is otherworldly. So I felt that was a pretty blatant call to Goblin Market. You mentioned it earlier, Pike, Bluebeard. Massive callbacks to Bluebeard. Jane Eyre, I thought there was some callbacks to Jane Eyre in there as well.
What specifically?
The end. I thought that there was the end. It was kind of like maybe not a direct reference to it, but there's that bit at the end when Ash is explaining her nefarious plan in a very James Bondish way, which kind of pissed me off quite a lot. But never mind, we'll get past that. And Ro is struggling to sort of like come to terms with this new truth about Ash. In Jane Eyre, Jane finds Mr. Rochester, who is newly one-armed and blind, and he says to her, "Am I hideous, Jane?" And she says, "Very, sir, but you always were." And I thought that was a kind of play on that. What else? She explicitly mentions Wuthering Heights, which is obviously about one of the most famous books about a toxic relationship. And didn't she at one point say that she wrote a paper on the theme of toxic relationships comparing Wuthering Heights with Twilight?
Yep.
Oh my God.
Which struck me as rather far-fetched. But so yeah, that's all the ones I could find.
How much of this are clever references and callbacks, and how much of it is just pilfering ideas from old novels?
Oh,
Question.
Ungenerous.
I don't think she was being overtly plagiaristic at all.
No.
I mean, the most direct reference was obviously the Hannibal Lecter one, but
but she mentions that at the beginning. So I think it was her daughter who inspired her to write this book.
Why are all the serial killers men? And she said,
Yeah.
Is this the question? Or
That's what her daughter asked.
That's
her.
what her daughter said.
Right, yeah. Yeah, of course. Haha, sorry.
I have another question for you guys. Now, this is not about the novel, but what I read in the bit at the end was the author thanks all the other people who read an early copy of the novel and then gave her quotes to put on the book cover, right? Who are also authors. And one of the quotes here from someone we've read a book by, Rachel Harrison: "Every page drips with delicious dread," which I would say is false advertising, I'm afraid. And how do you feel about this sort of like thing that happens with novels where you have a group of author friends and they give each other good quotes and recommendations on the back, because it fucking annoys me, and I really don't like that right on the front of the book. And it's like, no, the delicious dread comes in the last 30 fucking pages.
Yeah.
What do you think you're going to achieve by bigging each other's books up, other than selling a book on false premises and then also cheapening your name in the process?
Yeah.
I thought they were quite similar books in a lot of ways, to be honest with you. Not in terms of subject matter, obviously, but stylistically, I thought that I found them quite similar. Quite sort of not an awful lot of depth to them. The characters feel a bit clunkily drawn sometimes. But
I must admit, I don't read these. Like, I'm just looking. It's 2 full pages.
No, I never read them either.
I don't read that because I don't care.
But on the cover, don't you look at the cover before you know, because
this here, yeah.
Yeah, when you first get the book, right, you don't want to start it straight away. You want to look at the cover, you read what the comments say on the cover, what the back of it says.
See, this is the advantage of me having ebooks. I just go tap contents, tap chapter 1.
I was just analyzing the composition of colors here. That's what I was doing. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a beautiful. Whoever did the cover, well done. It's
beautiful.
It is gorgeous. You know, it is. But I just felt I did not need that quote on the cover. I did enjoy Rachel Harrison's book a bit more because I found the kind of like bitchy humour in it appeal.
Yeah, that was better
to my particular sensibilities. However, you know, she went down a lot in my estimation when I read that, because I thought, yeah, you're obviously mates with the author and you've given her a good write-up.
Right.
Have you even read the book? Every
like how
page
objective that is.
Drips with delicious dread is an absolute fucking non-truth by you know, where?
It's not this book. It's not.
What did we all think about the ending of the book?
You mean the little twist at the end?
No, from kind of like the bit where Ro goes to turn the aircon back on, from that section onwards to the end.
That was the bit that I enjoyed.
That was the bit I hated.
I thought that was the best bit.
It was predictable. I don't know.
I thought it was the worst bit. I thought it was the worst written.
Yeah.
Devoid of any tension. And
really?
Yeah.
I thought it was quite well written.
Yeah, I couldn't. I was like, until now, you didn't do anything against her will, like a stupid puppet. You can't face her. You can't. You don't have. Obviously, you don't have balls, but you know what I mean. What the fuck? Now you are actually going there when she's sleeping. Where is this coming from? Just wake her up if you're so scared of her. And then she finds this guy. I couldn't believe that. That was like, what the fuck?
Well, the bit that got me was like, she's gone down to turn the AC off, and then she's desperate to get back upstairs before Ash knows she's down there.
Yeah.
You just turned the fucking air conditioning back on, you prick. How's she not going to notice that?
Right?
She knows where the switches are.
That was like, are we okay? Hello? Are we home?
Yeah, I didn't like the end at all. I thought it really let the whole thing down.
Yeah, no.
I just quite enjoyed it, but it might have been that it was a bit of light relief at the end where the horrors actually arrived.
Yeah, it arrived. Like, there was a little piece of horror.
Enough of this lovey-dovey stuff and cupcakes and eating charcuterie out in the garden. You know, it's like, this is what I'd been expecting to happen a lot earlier. And again, it did seem rushed because it was left too late and you've only got so many pages to do it. You know, she could have snuck back up. She could have done there's so many other possibilities.
I needed more of that. At least like half romance, and then like I needed more of that dread.
I agree.
Right?
Yeah.
It needs to feel like a betrayal of Ro's investment in Ash, and it doesn't feel like that at all.
No.
It just feels like a tacked-on cliche horror ending to me, the whole thing.
But the romance was cliched as well. It sort of follows from one to the...
Yeah, but I can sort of... I don't really read romance, so maybe it's because I'm not familiar. I don't know. Maybe because I'm not familiar with that genre, I could sort of like handle it a bit better. But I just felt it was just very unimaginative. And the bit where Ash is explaining her nefarious plan to Ro was just like, fucking hell, are we in a James Bond novel? I mean...
Well, yeah, if that was... but I hate that in any book. When you know, rather than actually in the story leading up, you pick the bits together and figure out what their motivation was. Like the villain goes, before I kill you, I must tell you everything about my past life that the author couldn't be bothered to fucking feed into the story. There was a bit of that. I mean, but it was also, you know, so heavily fucking signposted. Of course she was going to find the guy as soon as the guy turned up at the war. And then, you know, it turns out that Ash has gone back, and then Ro goes there again, and then there's his car. And without any sign of him, and I thought, right,
she's like really stupid, like,
you know, she's disposed of him, and Ro's like, oh well, maybe, he's gone and taken a bus or whatever, and he hasn't got his keys. And
I think I enjoyed the ending because you know how I can't watch horror films. I'm very curious about them, but I really can't. They're just too scary for me. So this was being so cliched and coming on top of all the cupcake nonsense. It felt very safe. You know, it was creeping me out, but I could enjoy it. It was at a safe distance.
Which is the exact opposite of how a horror novel should make you feel towards the end. You should be utterly freaked out and scared to turn the next page.
Going back to the hike, wasn't that a really American situation, right? When they say, the trail is about 3 miles. Is that okay for you? No one in the UK would ever call that a hike.
No.
A walk, a ramble.
Stroll. That is so true.
Yeah, that's a walk to the shops.
I'll tell you one thing I did like about the kind of like erotic-y type stuff that they nearly did but didn't quite do and then later did. It was always done they were always sort of like checking in with each other that consent was given and consent was being offered. And I quite liked that because it presented a really much needed contrast to Ash's character of her not giving consent to sort of like, well, you know, force-feeding road bits of people, basically, and constantly crossing her boundaries by calling her Rosemary when she clearly did not want to be called Rosemary.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a nice contrast into Ash as a kind of like romantic sexual person and Ash, the serial killer person. Mm-hmm. God knows she needed some fucking depth.
There is a good exchange between them at one point where Ash says, oh, so do you want me to be rough or do you want me to be, you know, soft? And Rose says rough, but like not painful. And Ash is like, okay. I thought that was some very nice negotiation there.
Yeah.
On the scale, okay. So, which tools can I use on you? Which cabinet of tools? Sorry.
Not the bone
Is
saw.
it the rabbit or the anal intruder?
Okay. So, are we pitchforking? Pitchforking?
Let's pitchfork.
Yes.
Let's pitch them forks.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Anal intruder. What's your pitchforks?
Who's anal intruder?
You.
Sorry, me.
We're all waiting to see.
Okay, now.
I wanted to wait and see who would answer that, but never mind.
I'll give it a 5. It's light entertainment.
Yeah.
Okay. Pike.
I also wrote down 5. So I'm not copying Lithos. I wrote it down before we started recording. I think it had some. I think it had some redeeming qualities. There were moments, but on the balance, I think maybe the author shouldn't have bothered.
Ligeia?
I think like 4.
Ooh.
I was expecting so much more. I did like the story, but it was disappointing in the horror field. It was not scary. The ending was rushed. I needed more around that. I wanted to be in that last, I don't know how many pages. I wanted that to be longer. I wanted to be there. I wanted to go through those rooms down there. I wanted the guy to, well, he was suffering already, but I wanted to be present. Like, it was just like, oh, he already doesn't have his limbs. I wanted that to be a part of the book. How he is losing those limbs. Sorry, this sounds horrible, but you know, like, this is body horror. Where was it? It happened without me? What do you mean? Everything happened without me in this book. The sex doesn't happen. I can't see anything. I can't feel anything. Like, it's like I was supposed to feel emotions, something. So I didn't feel fear.
The delicious dripping dread.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, why? What's wrong with that? I wanted that. This is why we have words and we are writing a fucking erotic scene to do something to the reader. It didn't do fuck. I mean, it didn't really do fuck. So,
Literally.
yeah, nothing. So, yeah, I don't want to be bad, but it's 4.
I also wrote down 5. Completely
Oh my God,
uninfluenced by
I'm
both
bad.
Pike and Lithos.
Oh, you copied me.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I thought there was the bones of a good of a good novel there. I think Lithos is right that she's a good writer, and there's some really good bits in it. But overall, the novella was not developed enough. The characters were flat. Bits of it, like the missing girl subplot that I said earlier, just went nowhere and were dropped with no explanation. It just felt haphazard and sort of like slung together, and the ending was not good for me.
Yeah. If she went more into that, like, allegory or metaphor that I started to be finding, more like Freudian, I don't know, even Lacan, or, you know, the uncanny of nature, and using these two people to deal with that, that could be a really beautiful thing. But we would need to go really into the descriptions, and that didn't happen.
Yeah, the whole thing just felt like a snapshot rather than a photo album or a painting.
Yeah.
It just
It's
felt
like a really vanilla sex, like, okay.
So would you say that it was like the apotheosis of and of airport fluff?
I mean, it's not for everybody. Like, I think it might be too much for people who don't read any horror. It might be
I think the bit at the end might take it beyond airport fluff territory, but.
And then one scene with the animal cruelty, that is really.
But if you're into your horror and you want something easy to read on holiday, then, you know, it's the kind of thing where you can really switch off your brain, because not much is going to challenge it.
I said this to Ligeia earlier today, but the most fun I had with this was finding all the literary references and Easter eggs and all those kind of things, rather than the actual story itself, which is a shame.
I had to put a layer of my own imagination onto this book, probably. That's what I did. And then I was having so much fun. Like, this was interesting, but I think it was just my projection. So that's 10 pitchforks for myself. Thank you very much.
Isn't that how romance novels work, though?
Yes.
I don't know, probably.
That's a good point, Pike. That's a very good point.
Yeah.
So, listener, we're going to try and do a little bit of a new thing now. We're going to tell you things that we've read alongside this book, not alongside it, as well as this book, and just give you a brief idea of what we thought of those. Ligeia, do you want to go first? What you've been reading this month?
I don't know how familiar you are with Kingfisher and her book. Do you know this author?
No, tell us.
She's very famous, and I think I have almost all her books. I really like her writing style. This is her sort of retelling of the fall of the House of Usher by Edgar Allan Poe. It's her take on that book. It's not like it's inspired. It's clearly, obviously, she is not hiding it. And in this one, she is using fungi. It's a fungi horror. I was going to say cute. It's really nicely done. I love her because she brings a lot of humor. I should probably bring one of those books for our if you don't know them. I think
Do
this
you
is
want to
good.
tell the listener the title? Because they can't see what you're holding up on the screen.
Right, I'm showing you everything. Okay, so the book is What Moves the Dead.
Okay.
And I think I told you What Moves the Dead. And the
So
other book,
you would recommend it?
I would recommend her other books, but this is the one I read this
Okay.
week, I think. So there are, I think I enjoyed her other books more. But it's a tiny little. This could be a fluff. No, okay. And My Darling Dreadful Thing. That's another book by Johanna van Veen. I think that's how you read her name. Do you guys know her?
Nope.
No.
It's sapphic. She wrote another sapphic horror book. I forgot the name. I have it downstairs. So this is horror. It's really nice. I would suggest this. It is a slow burn. There is a beautiful relationship between a girl that is abused at home by her mom. She is forced to be hiding under the floor. Her mom is using her for pretending to be this medium. She is not fed. She is suffering. She has no air, oxygen, anything. And she creates the connection with this dead girl, and they actually have a real relationship, like lovers.
Okay, sounds good. Pike, what have you been reading?
You're going to make fun of me because I've been
Yes.
reading this for months, but I'm that's how I read. I'm very slow. So I've been reading Donna Tartt's Secret History,
Oh,
which
brilliant book.
Nice.
I'm very close to the end, and I'm still waiting to see if it turns out to be what I think it is. But so far, I think it's very clever. I think it's giving this aesthetic catnip. It's tapping into every first-year literature student's wet dreams with creating this beautiful, beautiful image that you are as drawn as the main character is. And then I think it asks you, it fractures it, and it asks you, can you live just for aesthetics? Is there, what if the moral bones of it are rotten? And what, how far would you go in justifying it just to stay with your fantasy? So, yeah, I'm waiting to see if that's what it turns out to be.
My main take from that book was that it's one of the few books I've read that successfully managed to make you hate every character, but still be a brilliant book and still be a page turner.
Yeah, it's a fantastic book.
I bought it just because you're reading. So it's waiting. Don't tell me the ending.
Oh, I want. I haven't finished it yet. So
Yeah, Pike hasn't finished it either. We're not going to do spoilers.
Lithos?
Dear listener, I have been enjoying La Recherche du Temps Perdu by Marcel Proust whilst supping on soft, delicious madeleine soaked in tea.
Ooh. Now we're
Write a
talking.
book about that.
And I'm a slow reader as well, like Pike, and I have been working my way through the second VanderMeer novel in the Southern Reach trilogy, which is I've forgotten the bloody title of it now. Yeah, you can look it up.
I'll stick it in.
Look it up.
And is it as good as, not quite as good as, better as?
It's a lot longer. It's kind of focusing on what happens when the expedition returns,
Right.
that you read about in the first book. And it goes into a lot more detail, and the main character in it is the person who is actually in charge at Southern Reach of investigating what goes on. And the only person that turns up that is actually that he is actually allowed to speak to, that is actually worth speaking to, is the main character in the first novel.
Oh, okay.
And it is good, but it's quite I found it quite a slow. Well, I'm a slow reader. Fuck it, I'm lazy, but I will get there. I'm going to work my way through every book in that because I enjoyed the first one so much.
And if say a listener now thought, I would like to learn more about the first book in this trilogy,
Oh.
how could they do that?
Well, they could go back a couple of podcasts in our series of book podcasts. and choose the one that you chose at the time, Pike, which was the very first book in the Southern Reach trilogy.
Annihilation. Yeah, I remember that.
Annihilation.
Love that book. I love Annihilation.
Look it up.
Annihilation.
So I read 2 sci-fis this month. I read Slow Gods by Claire North, which is it's quite Le Guinish, and it's full of ideas about late stage capitalism and gender identity and the slow, ridiculous progress of humanity. Basically, it's everything that your uncle calls woke on Facebook. And I've also currently reading The Dispossessed by Ursula Guin. I've read it before, a long time ago, and I think I'm getting more out of it the second read, as I can appreciate the political.
What is it about?
It's the story of a physicist who is raised in an anarchist community, and his comparisons with the anarchist community is on the moon of a planet, and the planet is kind of like a very highly capitalist society. And it's about his struggles to reconcile the fact that his anarchist community can't give him the environment that he needs to further his studies. So he goes over to the capitalist planet and shenanigans ensue, basically. But they're both very good. Slow Gods was very, very good.
Authority. That's the name of the book I've been reading. Sorry. I thought I'd better say that rather than just go look it up.
And our next read, Pike, it's your choice. What we're reading?
You Weren't Meant to Be Human by Andrew Joseph White, which was suggested to me with a bunch of trigger warnings, which obviously made it immediately enticing.
Exactly, yeah.
Have you guys read it?
No, not started it yet.
No?
Have you?
No.
So it's the first time, right?
First time for all of us, yeah.
It's on its way through the post whenever it arrives. I ordered it yesterday.
Yeah, paperback just came out.
Okay, so that was it. That was our take on Bloom by Delilah S Dawson. I've been Leraje. Hail Satan.
Hail Satan.
Hail Satan!
Hail Satan, you beautiful flowers of decay.